Well, happy Tuesday and welcome into Sports Talk. He's Aaron Mukes, I'm Morgan Jackson, and we have a lot of ASU to talk today.
Yes, before we get into that, I want to say I'm so excited for today.
Because
I'm going on vacation. Look, I know you don't care. I know you don't care. I know the people probably don't care. I'm so excited to get some relaxation, rest, and recovery to come back and finish the school year strong. I'm so excited.
You deserve it. You deserve it to be on the beach.
I don't even like the beach.
You deserve to just be somewhere where the sun is just on your skin. We were just out there today with baseball, but you just deserve some rest.
Yeah, I'm gonna get work on my tan and have a good time.
Are you gonna bring me back something?
What would you like? You want like some seashells or something? I'll see if they have any special flavored Dr. Pepper. I know you're trying not to drink Dr. Pepper, but maybe they'll.
Guys, I haven't had a Dr. Pepper all year long. Can you believe that?
I can actually. You've been doing really good.
Yeah, I've been doing really good.
You know who else has been doing really good?
Who?
The Albany State softball team.
Yes, they have. We're just going to get to those highlights right now. The Rams taking on Talladega. They put up 19 runs in game one. We pick up in the bottom of the second in the second game. Avery Fisher gets a piece of it. 3 at-bats, 3 hits for her. That one enough to bring home Ariana McKenzie and Abigail Jones. Same inning, 2 on, 2 outs. McKenzie nervous at the plate, but not nervous at all. That one goes over the wall. The Lady Rams scored 5 runs on 5 hits to open this one up. Fisher, she's ASU's leading hitter, 48 on the season, and a nice line drive right there. And then freshman Trenasia Parker making a name for herself. Her 31st RBI of the year, freshman to freshman. Ariana McKenzie scoring 3 runs today. And there's something special about that corner over there. Next batter, same place. Fisher, the same outcome. She scores. The Lady Rams roll 10-4. The final, a combined 29 runs over the series.
We've had a great year. We're in a good position. We're #1 in the East by 3-4 games, whatever it is. But we know all that can come tumbling down if we don't stay focused. So we're just trying to play one pitch at a time, practice one day at a time, see how good it comes out at the end.
Let's take a look at the SIE standings right now. Like Coach said, they're 3 games ahead of Savannah State. Then you have Clark, Fort Valley, which is actually where Coach came from to ASU. Edward Waters all the way down there. They all actually lost to Edward Waters in one of the games of those series. And then they'll take on Allen this weekend in another series, the SIAC championship. Not series, championship, but in the series. So I actually spoke with Avery Fisher about how she liked to get a ring this year in the championship series.
Well, I know that I personally want it really bad, and I think everybody else does, especially the freshmen. They really want to do it for us seniors. So like I said, we really just want to stick together and hopefully get it done this season.
I had to give it, we don't have the video, but I had to give a shout out to my favorite umpire, Mr. Henry Hill. He caught this game today. He did a phenomenal job.
He's great. Every time I see him, he's always a good time. So.
Yeah, when I heard that voice out there, I'm like, I know that voice. He came over to speak to me, so super excited.
You're the one who did the story on him.
Yes, I did.
So you should be familiar with him. That's great.
Yes. Very nice man and a very extremely talented group of young ladies. We talk about the youth on this team, 16 freshmen and sophomores amongst this team, and they're led by 3 seniors of Avery Fisher, Brielle Thompson, and Ariel Reed. I think actually Avery Fisher was predicted to be first team this year, and then Ariel second team. If you're those 3 girls, after finishing in the Final Four last year, how bad do you want to go out with the ring?
I think it's always special to end, right, getting a ring. And I think when you have young players on your roster that want to get that for you, it kind of gets everybody excited. When you have a young team like this, I think this is good when you're talking long-term for ASU, but it allows those seniors to know that they're comfortable playing with those younger girls in this case. They are talented, they have a case to make for themselves, and they want to be able to start helping this program build into a powerhouse. And we were talking earlier about the run that they made last year. We didn't realize, I guess, how good it actually was. And now you add on to what they're doing this year, and you're really asking for something special down the stretch.
You talk about that run. They had more seniors last year than they do this year. All the underclassmen, what does that say about Coach to be where they are right now?
It speaks to his ability to recruit, right? And the girls not only coming in that are highly talented, but they're living up to that recruitment. And I think when you're in today's landscape of college athletics, it is really, really hard to keep players. And I think that's the next challenge, right? Can Coach keep them there because of how well they're performing. You know you're going to have other coaches, other schools that try to come and poach some of your talent. But with the success that they're having, that goes a long way in trying to keep those players because they want to win. And if you're winning at a school, it's hard to leave one school to go to another that might not be having the same success. So I think it speaks to what coach has been able to do in the recruiting process, whether that's transfers, high school players, or otherwise. And it speaks to the character that he has and the program that he's trying to build.
You talk about coach. Actually, after the game, the girls had a chance to run-roll them in the second game. They won the first game 19-0. This one was 10-4. And so if they scored, I think we were about in the 5th inning. We were like, oh, they just need one more run. And they just could not get that 11th run to put the game away. And I asked coach about it after the game. I said, how would you assess your team's situational softball tonight? And he was like, actually, well, down the stretch, we put in a freshman at first base, I believe, or sophomore at first base, a freshman at third base. And he was like, I want to get these girls some playing time. And he kind of spoke to me about that, about how last year down the stretch, it's like, you know, injuries and stuff, who's going to be hot. And he said that down the stretch, he doesn't want these girls to not have any in-game experience. So how helpful is it to have these girls in this experience with hopes of making another deep playoff run?
It's invaluable. When you get young players experience, and especially in games late in the season, you never know when you're going to need them to call on them in a late moment stretch and to put them in games and maybe learn some of those situational baseball, softball things. It helps them going on. It gets them that experience, and then you're not so reluctant or maybe even just kind of like, I don't want to put them in the game. You have trust in them. They can develop some confidence in themselves, and their teammates have trust in them well. So I think in games like that where you have a blowout, it's a good opportunity to get those girls some action, and they were able to do that today.
Yeah, let's take a look at the remainder of their schedule for this year. Actually, Allen University, they'll take on this wing in a nice doubleheader. So they end the month on a win, which is always good. Then they have Clark, GSW. That should actually be a good game.
Yeah,
Traveling GSW,
there.
yeah. Fort Valley, and then Trinity Baptist to close out the regular season before they head out to the tournament in Columbus, which we will definitely have coverage from as we head into next month.
Yes, ma'am.
So stay with us after the break. We're switching to the Diamond. Can the baseball team repeat as conference champions? A deep dive into what needs to go right for the Rams. Stick with us. Thank you for joining us again here on Sports Talk. We're switching from softball to baseball. Albany State looking to make a run, not only in baseball, but softball as well. And this baseball team, they're picking up right where they left off this past season, Aaron.
Yeah, and they're doing it in a different way because it's a different team. So it's really cool you can have that many guys exit, bring in a brand new roster, and still have the success that they've had so far. They've been able to stay consistent, I think, which is what I'm most impressed about. They've had a couple of runs where you go 2 or 3 losses in a row. At the beginning of the season, it wasn't very good, but they've been able to bounce back and go through some winning stretches, and I think we're going to talk about it here in a minute, but at home, they've been dominant.
Yeah, actually, let's take a look at some of their footage from this weekend and today, actually. The Golden Rams pounced all over the Panthers, actually, this weekend. In the series sweep, the Rams took down a nice Middle Georgia team today also, and with the win, they have just 1 loss at home. And that makes their 4th straight win with the win over Middle Georgia. With this now, they have a 20-12 record after a 1-5 start, like Aaron said. 19-7 since. You see them at home. They got the bats going at the right time, and I love Coach Hemmings over there in the corner. And now they're 4th in the conference in ERA and 5th in hitting. And we caught up with Coach Hemmings this weekend about where he feels his team is at after the series sweep.
Last 15 games, we were 7-8 coming into this weekend, so we've kind of been up and down a little bit. We had some injuries, had a couple guys get sick, and then this weekend we had our full lineup out there and Jeremiah Riddell back in the rotation, so it was really one of our first weekends probably since Kentucky State that we finished off all 3, so really proud of the guys and the way they bounced back.
At this point in the season, what are you looking to see from your team?
I think right there when we're up 5-1 in the 5th inning, we have 2nd and 3rd. I think we got to stretch that lead in the tournament instead of having to go to another bullpen arm. I think we got to figure out a way to kind of finish teams off instead of letting them hang around. You saw over the last couple of weekends we've let some teams hang around, and the difference in this year's team and previous years, we've been able to finish those teams and not have to go to another arm.
And before I get into my question, just your first thoughts about what you heard Coach say just now.
Yeah, I think the health matters when you can finally get your guys back that you want to be on the field, that you expect to perform for you. I think that matters. And he talked about the consistent play where they went through a little stretch where they weren't winning games, and he wants his team to learn how to finish. And maybe that is the deciding factor between this year's team and last year's conference championship team, is being able to finish. But in order to get that experience, you have to do it. So you have to be in tight moments in games and in close ball games. We saw earlier this year they played Spring Hill, and it was a close game, and they ended up losing a game. I think those games early in the season will help them down the stretch as they try to, again, rattle off enough wins to, again, bring home a conference championship.
I guess what's getting me this season about the team is the depth in their bullpen. I feel like the start of last season, that was kind of the question mark. You add in Samuel Crew into this mix, Quindon Wright with another year of experience. You know about Jeremiah Riddell. What are you liking from this bullpen that you've seen so far?
Yeah, I think the grit. I think at the beginning of the season when I talked to Coach, he's like, we don't really know. The arms was going to be the question mark because last year there were some question marks early, but down the stretch in the conference tournament, they had guys step up and pitch big in big moments, including Quindon, right? So now you come this year, Quindon's now a go-to guy, and you have to find other guys. And I think that's where we're at now, is just trying to find some of those guys to fill in. And so far, I think you've seen some of the success they had. Obviously, Clark Atlanta, you expect a sweep. That's not a team. They're at the bottom of the conference. It's not a team that you expect to come in and get one from you. But those are the games you have to win. When you're in conference play, you have to win the games you're supposed to, and then hopefully steal some of the games and maybe you're not supposed to win. And hopefully when it all shakes out, you're on top. So I think they're in a good spot. I think this is now the critical time where you're going to look to some of those guys that were supposed to have big roles on this team that maybe haven't been performing at that level to step up right now down the stretch. We know what we're going to get from guys like Emory Stevens and Luke Addison and the bats that they provide. What are you going to get from the guys that you're trying to fill in? You were trying to fill some of those voids at the beginning of the season. Now is where it matters most as we head down the back half of the season.
You talk about Clark being at the bottom of the conference. You would have thought they were going to come in there and get the upset the way that their fans were. I mean, they were into the game. I'm like, are we looking at the same score?
You know, they were just excited. Baseball fans are fickle, and it's very weird, but baseball is a different sport. And you could be down 20, you could be in last place, and they're still so confident. It's crazy.
I took our producer, digital producer, Ty, with me to the game. She was like, you're right about the fans. And I was like, that is one thing I learned. These baseball fans are something else.
They're different.
But just one day left in the month of March, actually. Tomorrow, April 1st, is it too early, even though it will be in the month of the championship? How much talk, if your coach is that about at the game, at practice and stuff, how much are you talking about the SIAC championship tournament?
I don't know if Coach Hemmings will, but if I was coach, I would, because I like pressure. Like, pressure builds diamonds, right? And you want your team to feel it. You want your team to have those expectations. They are the defending champs, regardless of if there's a new half of the roster or whatever. The veterans there, the Luke Addisons of the world, they know what it takes to be a champion. So you're leaning on those veteran players to kind of help some of those younger guys get in there and say, hey, we are expected to win. We are the defending champs, and everybody's going to throw everything at us. We are the hunted. And I think with that mindset, I think it develops a little character, and it's okay to be confident going into the postseason. And I think where they're sitting at right now, you have to say they are one of the favorites, no matter what, even if they haven't been playing their best baseball all year long.
Yeah, I asked Coach about it after the game, and he said that he's focusing on today, but he doesn't think his team has played their best game yet, so that definitely gives me hope moving forward.
That is a good sign.
Let's take a look at the ranking of their schedule. Actually, the standings right now, Spring Hill in first right there, Albany State in second. Edward Waters putting up a tough fight against ASU a few games ago in third, Benedict, Savannah State. And yeah, Clark all the way.
When you look at those standings, though, that's a lot of good baseball teams.
Yeah.
I mean, you have over half the conference sitting at 500 or better in region play. So it's not like any game's going to be handed to them. We saw Savannah State earlier this year go down and beat Tampa, one of the top teams in the country. Mm-hmm. That was a big win for them. So they can beat anybody on any given day. And ASU is not going to have a cakewalk to a championship.
Yeah. No way at all. Well, I guess coming up after the break, we're switching from college baseball to high school baseball. A good single A matchup over in Baconton. We'll have highlights and post-game reaction when we come back.
In one of the tightest regions in the state, Class A Division II, Region 1 likely comes down to 2 games this week. One loss in the region, Baconton taking on the top dog, 12-0 Miller County. The Blazers threatening early. Bases are loaded for C.J. Richardson, and Thomas Cook gets them looking with the off-speed pitch. Runner stranded, and we are still scoreless. To the second inning now, Blazers with runners in scoring position. Preston Hurst, the swinging bunt. Victor Esquivel touches home. Baconton goes up 1. Looking for more, but check the pickoff move from Cook. Gets the runner. Base running would continue to play a big factor in this one. Pirates now applying some pressure. Hudson Coronati an answer. Ring him up right down the pipe. Another strong outing for 1-3. He strikes out 8 over 7 innings. Still a 1-run game. Tucker Clay feeling confident and delivers. The bloop single into left, and Miller has runners at the corner. Coach is going to dial up the safety squeeze with Tucker Cook. Watch this bunt. Perfectly lays it down. The game would be tied. Miller, though, aggressive on the bases here. He's going to be out at first, and then Clay trying to go from first to third, but Richardson throws him out. What a play. We're tied at 1 through 4. Crucial play here in the 5th. Runner at third, Drew Johnson, gets one into right field. Looks like they're going to take the lead, but Esquivel comes up throwing. The 9-3 putout ends the inning. Johnson started around first, like he was going to go to second. Heads up play there by Baconton. Game remains tied. Bottom 6, 2 outs. Miller wants no part of Quentin Peterson. He gets the intentional walk, so it's Richardson. 0 for 2 on the day with 2 strikeouts and a chance for redemption. And he delivers into left center. The go-ahead and winning run. Baconton, just 5 hits on the afternoon. None bigger than that one right there by Richardson. Blazers would win it 2-1. And here's Richardson on being ready for his moment.
My previous bat, I struck out. I knew he was throwing a first pitch fastball, and I got it, and I sat on it, and I hit it away.
You know, CJ's been with our program for 4 years, and he has stepped up in some serious situations this year and came through, and he did it again. You know, he's a heck of a defensive player, and he's coming through on offense this year when we need him. And today, people did things they don't usually do. We asked them to do. We asked people that don't bunt to lay down bunts, and they did it. And it all came together. We still got to win on Thursday, though. It's not over with yet.
The Blazers once again relied on the left arm of Hudson Coronati. 3 hits with just 1 unearned run allowed, and Coach was always going to go with his guy in a must-win game.
We had to win today. We had to sweep Miller County to win the region. That's our goal. So we went with him today. We didn't want to save him for Thursday like we usually do, and it worked out.
With the win, Baconton knows the win was big, but the job is not done yet.
This was a much-needed win for us. We go to them Thursday with trying to get a win, so we needed this. Let's try to get some win Thursday.
Huge, because even it back up. We go into their place, which is a tough place to play on Thursday. You know, battle it out again. I expect it to be the same type of game again, and similar situation.
All right, let's take a look at the region standings now, Morgan. This one is tight at the top. 3 teams with 12 wins, Baconton, Miller, and Seminole. Baconton taking the top spot after going ahead of, of Miller County. Yeah, it is the big region. I don't know, the two there at the bottom don't belong, but I guess I didn't take it out.
Baconton and Miller can hang with them.
Yeah, Baconton and Miller, they'll play again on Thursday with the winner likely the region champs. So.
Yeah, that's a big region, good region right there.
Yeah, it's pretty special.
Yeah, and we also have some really good, but before we go there, Aaron, who do you think is winning game 2? What will it take for Miller to win game 2?
I was really impressed with Miller today, to be honest. I hadn't seen him play. Really, really impressed with what they were able to do, but I am going to lean towards Baconton. I like the middle of that lineup with Hudson Coronati and Q there. I just think, and they play small ball, the bunting, the hit and runs. They manufacture runs, and when you play tight baseball games, you can win games like 2-1, and I think that bodes well for what Baconton not only is this year, but what they were in previous seasons as well.
Yeah, Coach talked to me a lot about that when I saw them play earlier this season. He said they focus on, did he call it situational baseball and stuff like that? Yeah,
a lot of it.
Yeah, selfless baseball for sure.
Yeah, you can tell people, like you said, people were bunting that don't normally bunt, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah, and we have a lot of high school baseball going on this week. And welcome to the show, or what maybe would feel like being called up somewhat. CCA versus Pinewood and Patala Charter versus Tift Area at Truist Park on Friday night. What an opportunity for these guys. We'll have highlights, post-game reaction. Our Mackenzie Waves will be live from there on Friday night in the locker room report.
I'm so
starting at 11 o'clock p.m. Yeah, that's a cool opportunity.
I got to go a few years ago when Baconton was there, and that was really cool for the guys to play on a big field like that. Blake Bryan, if you don't know, one of the best pitchers in the nation. He's a top 40 guy over at CCA. He's going to be pitching Friday night at Truist Park, a place that he might be playing very soon. So.
Yeah, I think he definitely will be playing there very soon. I'm excited. Blaze's first time seeing him play. I know she'll have a good time at Truist Park.
It should be fun.
Yeah, and let's take a look at some basketball, actually. Men's Final Four, the stage is set. Aaron, it looks like I was right about Arizona.
Arizona, I think I'm rocking with Arizona. Are you rocking with Arizona?
To win it all? Yeah, that's what I said last time. I wouldn't be mad if UConn won as well, though. I think that'd be pretty cool. If the men and women win, that would be.
That's happened, I think, a few times now.
Yeah.
It's happened a couple years. I don't want to say a couple years ago, but it was a couple years ago where it happened. I would like to see that as well. 2 good games, though, and shout out to the Fighting Illini for getting to this point as well.
Let's take a.
We have to talk about the girls' side,
too.
We have to talk about the girls' side, too, just because you're a Gamecock. The Gamecocks
Only
are in it.
because I'm a Gamecock, we
but
have to
South
talk about
Carolina has a tough matchup, Morgan. They are going to be taking on the University of Connecticut. We know what the Huskies are about. Can they pull off the upset?
It wouldn't be an upset.
Look, it's all chalk. All #1 seeds. I'm going UConn all the way.
My heart is going Gamecocks. My head is going UConn, like I said. Yeah.
I'll root for the Gamecocks just because. I really like Don Staley, and just because you're my friend.
Am I?
Oh. Anyways, what else do we got?
I think we got some baseball scoreboards. We got about a minute left in the show. Let's take a look at the Braves in action right now against the Athletics. They're down 3-1 in the second inning.
Looking for game 2 win. They got a game 1 win yesterday. Hopefully they can bounce back and get the bats going here late as we go down the stretch, or just in the second inning. So it's early.
Yeah.
It's early.
Yeah. Well, I guess that does it for this episode of Sports Talk.
That was fun.
Thank you for joining us. We'll be back here tomorrow night at 7:30 with a special interview for you guys kicking off Autism Awareness Month in the month of April and April Fools. So maybe some fun. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Thanks for joining us.